Stupid is not a word that comes to mind when discussing Albert Einstein. Stupid is exactly what his school teachers described him as when he was a child. Surprisingly enough, Albert did very poorly in school as a child. His teachers even suggested that he find some kind of manual labor because it was a waste of time to put energy into his education. His mother felt differently. Instead, his parents bought him a violin. Albert became good at the violin and later credited music to his success. Hi, I'm Sheila Cook, and I would like to talk to you about music and its influences on the attention span, memory, and learning, as well as test taking. I would like to encourage you to make music a part of your life, and if able, practice music often. I found my information from Daniel Levitin's book, This Is Your Brain on Music. Additionally, I found 2 articles, Music Training Changes Brain Networks by Ben Mock and Music and the Brain by Lawrence O'Donnell. With video games and televisions, it is no secret that we live in a right now generation. High-speed internet and TiVo allow us to never have to wait. It is no wonder why children have such a hard time focusing in school. Their brains are not trained to do so. The practice of a musical instrument could be the answer. Music affects many aspects of the brain, such as the motor cortex, sensory cortex, and auditory cortex, according to Mark Tramo and Daniel Levitin's book, This Is Your Brain on Music. According to Ben Mock in his article, Music Training Changes Brain Networks, and Professor Posner of Oregon University, music training can strengthen areas of the brain that deal in attention, self-control, as well as general intelligence. Posner found that these attention-related practices helped in increasing the attention network in the brain. He stated, not only did attention improve, but also generalized parts of intelligence related to fluid intelligence and IQ increased. He went on to say, if we are able to engage children in an art form for which their brain is prepared and they have an openness and creativity, we can train them in this and see improvement in attention as well as intelligence and cognition in general. Not only does music affect attention span, it also affects memory and learning. The music that has been seen to help the most is Mozart, according to O'Donnell and Music and the Brain. The other kind of music is music from the Baroque period. This type of music has a 60 beats per minute beat pattern. This activates the left and the right brain. When both sides are stimulated simultaneously, it improves learning as well as retaining that information. According to the Center for New Discoveries, learning can be improved a minimum of 3 to 5 times by using this kind of 60 beats per minute music. An example of this would be a teaching program designed by Bulgarian psychologist Dr. George Lozanov. He taught foreign languages in a fraction of the time it usually took, and his students could learn up to 1,000 vocabulary words, which is a whole semester's worth of information in just one day. He did this by using certain classical music with a 60 beats per minute pattern. The average retention rate of his students was 92%. His studies and experiments showed that foreign languages can be learned in 30 days with Baroque-style music pieces with an 85 to 100% retention rate. His students, 4 years later, had a recall rate of almost 100% without reviewing the foreign language at all. Let me give you another example of how music affects learning and memory. In the year 1982, a group of researchers from North Texas University performed an experiment involving 3 groups of students. The goal of the experiment was to determine if listening to classical music while studying could enhance learning. Each group was given 3 vocabulary tests, a pre-test and a post-test as seen on the chart, and a test a week after the first 2 tests were administered. All of the tests administered were the exact same. The first group was read the vocabulary words while listening to Handel music in the background. And they were also asked to imagine the words as they were being spoke to them. The second group also listened to Handel's music in the background, but were not asked to imagine the words. And the third group had no music and no imagining. The results from the pre-test and the post-test showed that groups 1 and 2 had better scores in the pre-test and the post-test. One week later, results showed that group 1 showed better test results than groups 2 and 3. The technique doesn't work simply because there was music being played in the background, but also because the music combines with the information being learned, making recall easier. One simple way students can improve their recalling for test results in hiring their scores is to listen to certain musical pieces, such as Mozart's Sonata for 2 piano in D major, before the actual test takes place. This type of music can release brain neurons in the brain. The proof of this can be seen in an experiment involving 3 groups of college students taking an IQ test. The first group listened to Mozart's Sonata before the test. The second group listened to a relaxation tape, and group 3 listened to nothing. The results showed that the first group had a score of 119, the second an average of 111, and the group 3 had an average of a score of 110. It is clear through the previous experiments, trials, and information that music increases attention span, memory and learning, and test scores. Each of these are valuable aspects and should be enhanced at every opportunity. I encourage each one of you to pick up an instrument or listen to a CD and begin the road to improving your brain functions through classical music.